A reading from the book of the prophet Jeremiah. Thus says the Lord, Cursed is the one who trusts in human beings, who seeks his strength in flesh, whose heart turns away from the Lord. He is like a barren bush in the desert, that enjoys no change of season, but stands in a lava waste, a salt and empty earth. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose hope is in the Lord. He is like a tree planted beside the waters, that stretches out its roots to the stream. It fears not the heat when it comes. Its leaves stay green. In the year of drought it shows no distress, but still bears fruit. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Grace, which can be simply defined as the life of God, grace, if you let it, will grab you by the hand and lead you where you need to go. And if you let it, grace will transform you into that hand, helping others go where they need to go. Now, as a friar, I've been led a lot of places that I never thought that I was going to go. And one of those was Nairobi, Kenya. Now, I had no reason that I didn't want to go, but just in my life, I never thought, I bet one day I'll go to Kenya. But I was asked to go, and so I did. And what I found out is that most Americans really don't understand Africa. I mean, some Americans don't even know that it's different countries. But among even my more intelligent and educated friends, they would say things that they'd be like, well, isn't it going to be hot? And Nairobi's actually almost cold. Like, you need a jacket. And then they're like, it's like a desert. It's like, no, it's verdant. It's a kaleidoscopic cornucopia of flora and fauna. And yes, I worked on that line. So it's this beautiful, it's pullulating, it's teeming with life. And yet, while I was there, I wasn't at the beginning. All of this life around me, living in an incredible Dominican community, working with the missionaries of charity, and in the midst of all that goodness, I had, in so many small ways, turned my heart away from the Lord. I was upset with the man I traveled with. I was much more upset with myself. And I'd planted myself, maybe even unknowingly, in the land of self-pity, a barren and salted earth. One night, the chapel is about 40 or 50 yards. It's a few-minute walk from the chapel back to the studium. And it's near the equator, so it's actually really cool because morning prayer, the sun actually rises, and evening prayer, the sun actually sets. If you live up this high, sometimes you're welcoming the dawn and it has not yet come, or it's been here for a while. But in Kenya, they got it locked down. So the sun is setting, and I'm walking, and I'm sulking. And I'm in the midst of that self-pity, and I'm walking back from evening prayer, watching another gorgeous sunset, pretending it's awful. And then a hand slips into my hand from behind me. And one of the African brothers, Brother Shabel, it's Charbel, but they don't really have hard R's, so I thought his name was Shabel for quite some time. But he leans up close to me and goes, "You seem heavy." Now, first, I was surprised by the handhold. I'm going to throw that out there. In East Africa, they will grab your hand, they will hold, they're close talkers, and so as, an American, I'm a tactile person, but it's a little shocking. And then, at first I thought he was commenting on my weight. And I was like, dude, I've been walking a lot, I'm working real hard. But he wasn't. Instead, he was commenting on my state of being, that I seemed heavy to him. And it was amazing because it was this moment of grace. It was the beginning of a friendship that I didn't know how bad I needed. It was this moment where God sent someone to me, a brother who had made the same vows to me, a brother I already lived with, sent him to me to take me by the hand and lead me back, to come back to the stream, to plant me firmly next to that stream which Jeremiah talks about. That stream that is the living water. That stream that is the living water that is God. See, we need to plant ourselves in community. One of the ways that I think so much of America is failing is we've forgotten what it means to be neighbor. We've forgotten what it means to be brother. We've forgotten what it means to be community. To stick by each other even when it's not great. To be able to reach out with our hands and say, no, back over here. But what's really beautiful about the Dominican vocation, and I'm going to argue the Christian vocation, is that that's just the first step. Being welcomed to the stream, being welcomed back into the life of God, turning back towards where we should have been planted all along. If we stay there, then God gives us this incredible opportunity to be a brother Chabelle to another, to offer our hand to someone else, to bring them back, to be that surprising moment of grace that reconnects us to the living water that is God, that is grace, that is the life that we are all called to, that is the life from where we all come. And so, if you're friars, you should probably already know this, but that's what we're called to do. That we are to be that hand of mercy that is extended out to the world, that finds itself in community and extends itself outward and says, come on back to the stream, so that when life does get hard, we have roots, we have somewhere that we're planted. And for the young men that are here discerning, whether or not you become a Dominican, as a Catholic, this is your vocation to, in this world that can feel so broken, that can feel so alone, to remember that grace, that is the life of God, will grab you by the hand and lead you where you need to go. And if you let it, grace will allow you to be that hand for someone else.